5:35. When she's finished, we invite Reverend Miller to come forward. 5:35.
Morning, everybody. So I'll read the first part, and then you'll read the italicized, whatever that is, that word. Okay, this is called Deep Calls to Deep. As a deer longs for flowing streams, so my soul longs for you, O God.
My soul thirsts for the living God.
My tears have been my food, day and night, while people say to me continually, "Where is your God?"
These things I remember as I pour out my soul, how I went with the crowd and led them in processions with glad shouts and songs of thanksgiving, a multitude keeping festival.
My soul is cast down within me. Therefore I remember you. Deep calls to deep at the thunder of your cataracts. All your waves and your billows have gone over me. Why are you cast down, O my soul? Hope in God.
You're welcome.
So I know we don't usually use that G word. In your mind, you can substitute that for home. Home. My soul and my home, or my source, or my supply, or all those good things, right? So the theme for September is welcome. So I thought we would like to play with the word welcome, right? You know, and it really means exactly what it says. You are well come. Coming here, you are well. And I really appreciate that. Now, we all know what it feels like not to be welcome, don't we? Especially, there are some places where you just kind of walk in your door and you go, ah, right? The colors, the decor, the sound, what people are doing, what people are saying, you're going, I don't belong here. Yeah? I'm kind of like that in disco joints. Much as I love music, right? You couldn't possibly relax there. You couldn't possibly, know what to do or say. That's no fun. And some of us have felt that in what should be spiritual homes. Yeah, and that's hard. And that's why we work so hard here to have this place be someplace that just about anyone can come in and go, oh, I can relax here. I don't have to worry if I'm doing the right thing or saying the right thing. Yeah? The group that did all the work to make this space what it is really did a good job, didn't they? Yes. The surroundings, they feel like, yeah, that's kind of like home. I remember one year I was needing to go off and do some writing, and someone said, well, my mom passed away about 6 months ago, and you're welcome to go stay there for a few days. And I thought, oh, how sweet. And I walked into her place, and it was a condo up in the hills in Eugene. And oh my goodness, it was the same furniture, the same books, the same art I had grown up with. Talk about feeling welcome and at home. I could have told you where the plates were, where the silver was, right? It was, obviously this woman's mom was a lot like my mom, right? So when your surroundings are feeling like, oh yeah, this feels kind of familiar, and the people are warm and accepting. Some of you are aware that I had a very unexpected journey this last month and was in New Zealand. And everyone there was being very supportive because they all knew that what I ended up doing and being was not what I came to end up doing and being. And so the people up the hill were this lovely couple that had moved to New Zealand from the Midlands, England, and they had brought all their traditional furnishings, et cetera. So I walked into this very modern hillside tropical place filled with big, chunky walnut furniture and comfy sofas and oriental rugs, and I'm going, yeah, I think I know this place, right? And, over there on the counter is a little vodka, a little tonic, and some nuts. My aunt and uncle had vodka tonics every afternoon at 4 o'clock. It was like, okay, yeah, I was welcomed, wasn't I? Yes. And this is something we are all hungry for. All of humanity is hungry for feeling welcome, feeling home. Isn't that marvelous? It's part of being human. And because we are born into bodies when we are actually something other than just bodies, we're always feeling like, wait a minute, is this home? Is this home? Is this where I belong? Now, there's this marvelous writer who is so much more than a writer. She helped Matthew Fox create the Creation Spirituality Institute. And she calls herself a witch, and her name is Starhawk, right? She says, we are all longing to go home to some place we've never been. A place half remembered, half envisioned. Somewhere, there are people to whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere, a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate with us as we come into our own power. Starhawk. Isn't that beautiful? She calls that the longing for home. That longing to be in that place where we can truly be who we truly are. Yeah. Every now and then someone's composing a song who's feeling really left out. They're feeling like no place they go feels inviting or welcoming. No place even feels familiar, right? And it feels to them like nobody is warm and inviting. It feels to them like nothing anyone does out there is comfortable or even reasonable. None of us have ever had that experience. Well, I think Jim Morrison of The Doors, people are strange when you're a stranger, right? Women seem wicked when you're not wanted, all of that. So when you're strange, everything around you feels strange. So that tells us something. It tells us maybe it's not about what's out there being welcoming. If we are the stranger, then everyone else is going to feel strange. They're reflecting back to us our own sense of feeling strange. Now, Brene Brown talks about this in Daring Greatly, and I know a bunch of you are great fans of Brene Brown. She says, because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic, imperfect selves to the world. Our sense of belonging can never be greater than our self-acceptance. Which is why most of us have gray hair.
Which is why I wear a hat.
Most of us have taken a few decades to accept who we really are, which is how we can belong and feel welcome in this place and in other places. Yes. It's not an easy process in our culture. Now, in other cultures, it starts with birth. In fact, it starts from conception. There's this marvelous African culture where people have a special song that they learn during the conception process for this being that is born. It's like the spirit song in A Vision Quest, right? And that realization, oh, there's a special energy, a special combination of vibrations that this person that I'm carrying is. And I get to sing it and bring it forward. And it belongs with us. It's a song in the combined symphony melody of our village, of our community, of our clan, of our family. So from in the womb all the way through in these cultures that are recognizing that belonging is essential to all humanity. It's a longing we all have. Belonging. Human beings are belonging. So that recognition that we are worthy of acceptance and we are being accepted and we're encouraged to express who and what we really are is normal in most indigenous cultures, but it's totally abnormal and missing in most of our culture. We have been taught almost from the moment we dirty our first diaper that we are not okay. We are not okay. We are not accepted. And what we choose to do has to be changed somehow to be accepted. That's not how it is in other cultures. In South Africa, for example, Desmond Tutu reports, a person with Ubuntu is open and available to others, affirming of others, does not feel threatened that others are able and good, for he or she has a proper self-assurance, there we have that comes from knowing that he or she belongs to a greater whole and feels diminished when others are diminished or humiliated. Yeah. When you feel so interwoven into a community, a family, a tribe. Pearl Buck actually talks about one of her characters. Because he was Jewish, he always knew he belonged somewhere. Yeah. Ubuntu is a movement now in Africa that's making a huge difference in a lot of people's lives. And it's related to a tradition that some of you may have heard about in some of the villages in Botswana, where if someone begins to act a little weird, they're acting out or they're doing things or saying things that aren't in alignment with the harmony of the whole, the wise elders invite them to have a seat in the middle of the village. And then everyone in the village comes up and says, I love you. You're so important. I think you're just marvelous. Thank you so much for being in my life. Oh, I so appreciate you. You're making such a difference in us. Can you imagine having that happen 50 or 60 or 100 times? It'd be hard to continue to act out in any weird way, wouldn't it? You'd be reminded of what was true when your mother was carrying you, and when the rest of the village carried you around after that, that you are part and important and welcome here. Yeah. In a world, a culture, where people are born under bright lights and often with pieces of equipment helping the process, and someone whisks them off to a little table and puts stuff in their eyes and wipes off the mucus around them and then wraps them up in something and then lets the mother see them, maybe hold them. It's really hard to feel like you belong, right? Yeah. That's part of why I got involved in the whole midwife world. And so there are now thousands of children, and you know, a lot of those indigo kids were born into a warm, love-filled space, sometimes in water that was the same temperature as the mother's womb. And they were surrounded by people who loved them, and the first thing that they were encouraged and allowed to do, even before the placenta had been released, was to sit on the mother's belly and continue to listen to that heartbeat, skin against skin. Big difference. Welcome, little one. We love you. So if you're feeling strange and people are stranger, I strongly recommend something called rebirthing, in which you remember being born that way, in that love, surrounded by love, welcomed into this family. Yes, you belong here. You belong on this planet at this time. You belong as you are, each and every one of us, in our own unique way, because as the African mom who's learning the unique song for her about-to-be-born child realizes, each and every one of us has a unique pattern of energy. We bring unique gifts. We bring unique ways of understanding and experiencing, and everyone around us benefits from our uniqueness. And if they don't think so, that's their problem. It means they haven't learned how to be self-accepting in themselves. So you accept them to show them what acceptance looks like. And as I was putting this talk together, I kept thinking of one of the authors that I've worked with that almost no one has ever heard of, but this remarkable, remarkable man. He was a Scotsman in the 1800s, and he was a self-made Scotsman, which is to say he came out of the gutters virtually, one of the poorest possible families. And he got involved in the Thomas Moody Christian missionary stuff that was going on in the 1800s, and began to go down to the wharves and listen to, and then became a teacher of the Bible as they taught it. And as he discovered that he was a teacher, he learned to read doing the Bible work, he began to realize, oh, I can do more than this. And he became a professor, I love this, of natural philosophy, a natural sciences, a professor of natural sciences who taught Moody Bible. Geology, biology, evolution, Moody Bible. And he became someone who was equally comfortable in every environment that he found himself. Every summer he would head off to Africa with his Moody Bibles, and every fall he would come back to Glasgow as the professor of natural sciences, and every weekend he would go back down to the wharfs, and he would proceed to work with the guys, the longshoremen. And he'd go back to the classroom, and his students would be people who were sons of earls and barons and dukes and rich farmers and merchants. And so they started inviting him into their homes. And everyone commented on it didn't matter where he was always at home. He always belonged. It didn't matter whether it was a salon, the lab, the bush, or on the wharves. He was self-accepting. And as himself, he always showed up in the same way everywhere and always belonged. What a difference that makes. Yes? So a woman named Charlotte Erickson, who wrote a book called Empty Roads and Broken Bottles, says you need to belong to yourself and let others belong to themselves too. You need to be free and detached from things and their surroundings. You need to build your own home in your own simple existence. Not in the friends or lovers or careers or material belongings out there, because these are things you will lose one day. And all of you in the garage sale saw that. That's the natural order of the world. This is called detachment. This is the Buddhist practice of detachment, of recognizing that all that is going on out there is showing me where I am and what I am becoming and what I have been, and giving me options for the potential that is emerging in me and therefore around me. So putting me back in that disco environment where everything looks really strange and weird to me, the music, that I can relate to, right? And then I see the joy of the people who are feeling the music, right? And we're all feeling the music. And then it doesn't matter what the colors and the stuff is around us, right? Because it's about the being in the music and being ourselves in it. That's what matters, yeah. I promise you this, says Maura Brinken in her book, A Little Off, Always On. I promise you this, when I embraced my differences and stopped trying to fit in, I ended up where I belonged. Yes. And that's why we feel so welcome here. It's the wonder of it, isn't it? It's like the universe is saying, well, okay then. You accepted it. All right. Here, have some place where you feel comfortable. Yes. And there's a wonderful UU minister who added to this wonderful packet that Judy sends out each month. And she says, in this environment that we call the Unitarian Universalist space, for this one moment, know only that you are loved. You are safe and whole and beloved. You belong here among us, and frankly, among all beings, my thing, on this earth, in your body, whether it's tired or broken, however tired or broken your heart may be. Yes? Whatever the fear or disappointment or anger has been that you've carried, for this hour, it's dissolved. You are not alone. Feel the presence of those around you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here the resilient freedom, the choice for love, to live with joy and gratitude and praise. Know you are not alone. So claim your beingness, your unique individuality, your differences, accept them, appreciate them, because we all do. Right. You belong here, and you deserve it. Thank you. Do we want to do a meditation?
Yes. Yes.
I guess we do.